Hey guys, Steven here, Fanatic Perspective, going to 5,000 subscribers, September 7th, Texas LSU. I know you guys are wondering why is Aggie sitting next to me. It's actually my boy. It's my boy Brandon Arrington.
That's how we're starting?
That's how we're starting.
All right, fair enough.
We're coming out throwing blows, right? That's my boy Brandon Arrington. As I guys told you before, as I told you guys before, we're going to have opposing fans' perspectives on this channel throughout this season. I wanted to start with Brandon since he's A&M. We're not playing A&M. We're rivalries.
We are.
We're rivals without a rivalry currently.
Seriously.
But wanted to get your perspective. And, you know, Brandon and I are really close friends. We consistently talk about each other's teams. We are both Cowboys fans. Those of you who have viewed our Cowboys videos last season, Brandon will come on and provide commentary on the Cowboys as well. He's actually from the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
Cedar Hill.
Played for, ended up, led the area in rushing, outrushed Justin Forsett back in the day, 1,300 plus rushing yards, ended up playing for Dennis Francione at Texas A&M.
Yeah.
So storied football career on Brandon's side, and so I'm glad to also have your perspective as a former college football player, as an Aggie, and on our channel as my friend.
I appreciate you having me. I know it's got to hurt a little bit having, this maroon.
As long as you don't come with no tomfoolery, man, I'm sure everybody will be...
I made no promises.
Before we get started just with our convo, and we'll kind of pick on each other's teams and do what we normally do, our barbershop talk, right?
Right.
Cedric Benson, the tragic passing, him and the young lady who passed away that was a student at the University of Texas as well.
Yeah.
Just wanted to get your perspective on that. I know you were in high school the same time Cedric Benson played, as well as you're a big motorcycle guy. So just
I am.
Age, motorcycle, how does that resonate with you?
Well, this one hurt actually. So as you already alluded to, I ride motorcycles. Me and my parents actually just came back from Sturgis, South Dakota, made a 3,200-mile trek from Dallas to Sturgis and back. Everyone made it back safely, so we are grateful and thankful for that. But hearing that he passed on a motorcycle definitely hurt, but hearing that he passed in general hurt as well. The 2004 game against Oklahoma State, I was actually there in the stands watching him, watching how great of a runner he is. He came out before me in high school, but I followed his progress. I saw his domination, and honestly, when I saw him in real life, saw him at that game, I became a fan. I would say that for me personally, he ranks behind Ricky and Earl, but seeing just the tenacity of which he ran with,
sure.
It was a sight to see, and I guess I probably went to one of the best games to actually watch him live. But hearing how he passed, hearing the how it happened, it just hurt a lot, and it hurt to my core, especially, again, being a motorcycle rider myself. He was 36 years of age. It's truly tragic.
Dude, I feel like it's one of those things, too, where as time has gone on a little bit, just over the last, 48 hours, it's, really starting to set in with a lot of us. Longhorn Network has been airing, a lot of his, classic games and whatnot, and it's just damn, this is somebody who is, was not that far ahead of us.
Right.
You know what I mean? Just from
Not at all. He's 36.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 33.
I'm 31.
So high school, we were there at the same time, and again, it's just really tragic. But not to be forgotten in all this is another life was lost, and she was 27, PhD, recent graduate from UT. So my thoughts and prayers, condolences for Longhorn Nation, for those families, because it's truly tragic.
Yep. So I appreciate your thoughts and sharing that with me and everybody else. Want to get into our teams.
All right, let's do it.
You got your boy Kellen Mond here. I got my boy Sam Ellinger. It's funny because it's at this point of recording, as UT, we're 11 days from kickoff. I know you guys are, I think, 9 days since you played Texas State on a Thursday night. Mm-hmm. I'm actually going to start off just with my thoughts on your team, and you can chime in. I'm sure your boy Leon O'Neal will probably chime in as well on Twitter.
Hey, let Leon live.
How's Leon the loudest guy in the room?
Let Leon
and he
live.
hasn't even played.
Let Leon live. He plays well enough. Let Leon live. Leon, keep doing your thing, homie.
How many tackles did he have in the LSU game?
Irregardless. Doesn't matter. He's talking. We need someone like you in the locker room, and I'm grateful that we have someone like you.
I appreciate the pride and the energy for your school, but you got to produce, brother. Like
right, fair enough.
Talking like he Caden Stearns.
But you know what? He's still there, unlike some people. Okay, yeah.
Unlike who? I don't know what you're talking about. You talking about LJ? Who are you talking about?
Wait, McCoy. That name sounds familiar, doesn't it? Okay, sorry. Just making sure.
Look, bottom line is this. You guys are heading into Murderers Row
fair.
this season.
So with that, how do you feel would be a successful season for us Ags?
8-4. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful. So this is the way I look at it two ways for you guys. I think realistically, based upon your roster with what you lost to the NFL, especially on the defensive side, I also think the defensive line is still going to be really, really good. Adding Leo to that mix, y'all are going to have some beast up front.
Talented.
Hopefully your boy Leon can play on the back end.
I think
we're going to see. Probably replace like a Donovan Wilson, right? So you have those guys.
Like Donovan, we're good.
You guys are, and then obviously Kellen Mond, right? So you have at Clemson. We're talking about the beast right now. At Clemson, at home against Bama, at Georgia, and at LSU. And those two are to finish the rest of the season, right?
Yes.
And then not to mention other games within the SEC West, like a Ole Miss or Mississippi State. Auburn, like, you know what I mean? So when we're factoring that in, I mean, I think it's two ways, right? One is, let's say you drop 3 of the 4. You only beat one of those teams, and then you do well on the rest of your schedule. You maybe only drop one to maybe Ole Miss or somebody else random. I think if you're competitive in those games, it's also how the 8-4 looks. If you're out here getting,
I don't disagree. If we drop 3 of those games, and we're talking one, maybe 8-point, 10-point difference between those ball games, I completely agree with you.
Yeah, because it can't be like 77-0 like that team you were on.
That's how you feel? I was not on that team, but that's how you feel? I mean,
it can't be 77-0.
It did happen. It's history.
But
we try not to look at the past.
I do think so. There's two. What is your mentality as a fan when you look at the slate that's in front of you? Realistically, the team that you have, with this roster, I think you have a great wide receiving core, but you do have to replace Travion, right? So in the run game. Realistically, like, what's your outlook in terms of attacking these games and how you approach your schedule?
So I agree with you. I think realistically, looking at the schedule that we have, what's on the road, what's at home, 8-4 would be great. I hope that we go 2-2, 3-1 in those in that gauntlet of the 4-game stretch. But if we did happen to go 1-3, how do they look? So I do agree that 8-4 is kind of optimal. I mean, that's something to be satisfied against. Sure, if you look at last year, there's not great improvement, but last year the schedule was not this. As far as how we attack it, I would say we go as far as Kellen Mond goes, as far as he takes us, I would say. You look at last year's game, what he did in LSU, what he did at Clemson, dude played lights out. He balled. I want to say he didn't have any turnovers in either one of those games, which that's outstanding. He might have had a fumble loss, I think.
But he had he threw for 400 yards against Clemson,
right?
And had to go up against that vaunted defensive line.
270 against LSU, 6 touchdowns. That defensive line was something else. But we go as far as he takes us. How do we replace Travion? Corbin's great. We do it by committee. We start with Corbin. We have a pretty darn good offensive line. Of course, we lost McCoy. You don't replace someone like McCoy who can do the things he does, but we have some incoming freshmen.
And you have to replace Jay Sternberger at tight end.
True.
And Jimbo likes to work through the tight end.
That's going back to the Florida State days.
Yeah,
the Nick O'Learys.
Yep.
Yeah. It's unfortunate Bailey Cup breaking his leg. And I'm not going to say we replace that type of production that Jace gave us, but we do have a good stable of veteran tight ends mixed with some youth that we can mix in. So hopefully by committee or
maybe one person. The wide receiving core is really, really good. They'll
really
pick
good.
up. They're really, really good.
I think that's definitely one of our strengths.
I think Rodgers and some of those other guys are playing for NFL.
Jamon Osmond.
Yeah, they're playing Rodgers. For NFL money. So
Cam
theoretically,
Buckley from Cedar Hill, Texas. That's the only time I'll ever do that. Those in Cedar Hill understand.
I think those guys will be able to pick up the slack and get some of that production from Kellen Mond. You're also going to, you're looking for the development and the consistency from him. Same thing we're looking for as Texas fans from Sam Ehlinger, right? Week to week in terms of the accuracy, pocket awareness, and just developing as a quarterback, right? But if A&M wants to be the big boy program that you guys, announce and are boisterous about, right? Mm-hmm. The money that's been invested into the program, the money that's been invested in Jimbo Fisher, at some point you got to announce yourself to the college football world.
Right.
That moment, we thought we were going to see that with when they won the Heisman with Johnny Manziel and they transitioned into the SEC and all those things are going on. But there hasn't really been that, you can't sit up here and tell me that beating LSU in a 6 overtime game is your signature moment as a program.
As a program, no, but that was our first time beating them since we came to the SEC.
I understand the significance of that.
Right.
But what's the next step? Like, how do we get to playoff contention if you're an Aggie fan? Like, what at this because to me this schedule should be looked at as an opportunity.
It is. It's definitely an opportunity.
You see what I'm saying?
This schedule this year dictates kind of where we go in the future.
Yeah.
Especially when you look at our schedule for 2020.
Oh yeah, you guys are taking the non-conference. Y'all,
I mean,
2020 and 2021. Y'all just taking the
right.
whole non-conference.
We still got the
off.
SEC West, so we're good.
Playing Colorado, like.
Hey, Colorado's not bad.
Valdosta State, Lamar again. Like who else we got on the non-conference?
You gotta get off my schedule, man. Hey, this year is making up for the schedules that we have for the next 2 years. All right? I would like to see you guys switch places with us, go through our schedule, and see how that works out.
Hey, man, y'all left. We didn't.
Yeah, we
moved
10
on
toes.
Up. We 10 toes down in the Big 12, man.
You should be. We moved to a bigger neighborhood.
8-4, baby.
Yeah, 8-4 would be great though. If we do better than that, of course the future is just extremely bright at that point.
I do think you're a better football team on paper than 8-4. It's just the schedule.
I don't disagree.
And I know guys are like, oh, well, you guys keep talking about the schedule. Look,
when you're talking about,
especially it's the road games,
right? When you're talking about the road games, and then you look at the roster, like we're still a young team, and we're replacing guys that were veterans last year with young players. That aren't tested yet, and then we're having to go through a schedule like this.
Well, you know what? By the end of the season, they'll be tested.
Oh,
for the LSU and the Georgia game, and it's funny because we have a common opponent in LSU, right? Where we're going to be playing them at the beginning of the season. You'll be playing them at the end of the season.
And you want to talk about our conference moving to the SEC? Who's your highest ticket price for UT this year?
Well, I mean, yeah, it's LSU.
Okay.
Granted,
what conference are they in?
But the best team we're probably playing is Oklahoma, and we play them in neutral site in Dallas. So, I mean, if you want to go off,
we'll see if Oklahoma's the best team. Jalen Hurts is a great quarterback, former SEC quarterback.
I didn't see LSU in the playoffs last year. Saw Oklahoma
That's
there.
Fair. I mean, if we were in a Big 12, we might have been.
Dude, when's the last? When you. I'm just saying, like
No, you make a valid point with that, but again, your hype is around the SEC, around LSU, not
all
Oklahoma.
Right, well, tell me about
Texas.
Right what are you tell our Texas fans, and even we have a lot of LSU fans. We have a lot of people that are 5,000 is coming soon, guys, and it takes a village, right? Tell the people your objective opinion on the Texas Longhorns 2019 season.
So my objective opinion on the Longhorns schedule, if you guys drop more than 2 games, I think that's an issue.
So 10-2.
10-2.
Objectively,
looking at Sam leading you, looking at the schedule that you guys have, it's not super tough this year for you guys. Now, do I think that? I think I think Baylor and Iowa State might be trap games. You're on the road for both of them. I think Baylor beats either you or Oklahoma. I think what Matt Rule's doing there, he's a very good coach. He's making that program physical. I think they either beat you or Oklahoma, not both. Otherwise, I mean, West Virginia is not the same. Oklahoma State.
Kind of a transition year for them.
Transition year for them.
But
Oklahoma State,
not to be slept on.
OU, I mean, you guys always played them tough. Records in that game, to me, never really mattered because it's just OU, Texas. Aside from that, I mean...
What are your thoughts on the Texas LSU game? Your SEC West.
I think it benefits you guys being at home. I think if this was in LSU, I think they'd probably be a 2-possession favorite.
2-possession favorite?
Yeah.
If this was in Death Valley?
Yeah.
You're nuts.
2
possession?
I've been called worse. It's all good.
Okay.
But I mean, you guys are at home or what? 2-point favorites?
I think one or 2 points.
All right, so it was
the line moved.
It moved. So
yeah.
Those 2 points last I checked. If it's gone down, I mean that should tell you something right there. I mean, if this is a neutral site, it might be a little bit different. But at the same time, LSU with Joe Burrow is very
moving to the spread.
What does that spread look like, though?
That's
what
a great
does Joe
point.
Burrow look like in that spread?
That's
what
a
does
great
his team
point.
look like? So
I think everyone, from an LSU perspective, is just assuming because we're moving to the spread and because we did whatever we did in the spring that this is just going to be a smooth transition. And there are elements, from an execution standpoint, from a penalty standpoint,
Right.
All those types of things that, are you going to be totally buttoned up game number 2 in a new offense?
Right.
I think that's a question I
in
would
a
have
very
as LSU.
hostile environment.
In a very hostile environment against a team that's, I think we're 5-0 in our last 5 games against SEC teams, if I'm not mistaken. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong if that's a bad stat. I think we lost Ole Miss way back, but I think the last 5 SEC games or something like that. Something crazy.
Fair point.
But we've played well in these type of games. Tom Herman being a big game coach. I feel good about it. I really do.
I mean, I don't doubt you for feeling good, especially when I think about this. You're talking about a team that used to line up I formation, run it down your throat. They'd wear on you. Now they're moving and spreading these guys out. And usually when you spread out, you're picking up the pace. You're moving, you're running more plays, you're getting a higher pace. How do these offensive linemen who are used to just sitting there leaning on guys, mauling them, adjust to that? Does that play to your advantage or not?
Right.
But on the flip side, I don't think that as a whole, Texas has seen the defensive speed that LSU can bring.
Even with Georgia last year.
You didn't have Baker. You didn't have a few guys on that team. I'm not making any excuse.
Okay.
You still rolled them. You still were more physical. And I was, not going to lie, I was impressed by that win simply because of how physical you were. But I think once Baker dropped out the equation, they're just kind of like, all right, let's just play this game, see if we win. This is going to be an LSU team who has something to prove, who's out trying to make their own mark. And I think they see this as an opportunity to
Absolutely.
go up against one of the big.
These are resume builders, if
For
you
sure,
will.
for sure.
Just like it is for Texas.
But I'll
And
say
that's
this.
motivation for both teams.
I think a close loss for either team doesn't hurt.
I think it would hurt Texas. Here's why. There's still that perception of the Big 12. And there's still people that don't take our win against Georgia seriously in the Sugar Bowl. And is there enough meat on the bone the rest of our schedule to make up for LSU loss, depending on what the teams in front of us may do?
For sure.
That's where my concern comes into play. If we even in now granted, a close loss at home, you still have an SEC school that says, hey, we rolled into a hostile Big 12 environment and came out with a dub. So I actually think for the sake of our conference, this game means a lot. I think for the sake of the SEC, and it's interesting. We got to figure out what we're going to do that day because your game's like 2:30 against Clemson.
Yeah.
Where hopefully I don't get slaughtered by Trevor Lawrence.
I know.
and friends.
I mean, last year I will concede this. Last year we only faced him for a half.
Yeah. And
So-
Kelly, they didn't trust him yet.
They didn't trust him yet. Now we'll face him for an entire 4 quarters. So I am very interested to see how our defensive line, how our DBs, how our young linebackers do against that type of talent.
Yeah, Travis Etienne and T. Higgins. I mean Ross. I mean, woo,
Goodness gracious, yeah.
handful, baby.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie.
But it's opportunity.
It's a very big again. The entire schedule is an opportunity, but
I haven't done my Heisman, my top 5. Kellen Mond is not in my top 5 Heisman contenders.
That's fair.
However, he deserves honorable mention based upon the opportunity in front of him.
right. I
You
would
see what I'm
think.
saying? Like, if he can go in there now, even this schedule, I don't even think Jimbo had Jameis and Dalvin Cook and all them boys from Florida State. I don't think he would even
Benjamin, yeah.
be able to go through this unscathed. Like, this
It's
is
tough.
but we'll see.
It is what it is. I mean, like you said, it really is a great opportunity at the end of the day. Even if we lost all 4 of those games, which I don't believe that we will, but even if we lost all 4 of those games, if they're not in blowout fashion, that's great. I think that helps the program. I think that helps recruiting because this is a very tough task that we're asking.
Last thing I got for you before we sum it up As always, I enjoy our, chit chat, barbershop talk, and whatnot. Your boy Damon, UIL. They come down and say he can't play for Tom Ball.
First of all,
Just your thoughts.
Being someone who, it's a little known fact, I did transfer. And seeing how the UIL is kind of treating guys kind of like similar fashion to the NCAA, taking away opportunity, it's unfair. I think they took the opportunity for him to have a senior year of football away, but I think how he's responded, how he's handling it, what he's put out there on Twitter is very professional. And from a selfish perspective, he didn't have to take the wear on his body for this year. So he's kind of saving himself. Of course, you don't get, you want to be out there with your teammates, you want to be out there playing ball, you want to be out there balling. He's a chef, he wants to be out there cooking, but it's unfortunate, but,
It's tough, man. I mean, he's arguably the top receiver in the country in this current class.
State.
Not in Quentin Johnson right there behind him.
Behind being key word.
right there.
Behind.
He's on his heels.
Behind.
He might pass him since you can't play football anymore. He might pass him. Who knows? I'm joking.
Fair enough.
But all things considered, I do think it's kind of crappy that he's not going to be able to ball.
Right.
Just like you said, from selfish reasons, get us as fans. Last recruiting video we did, I encourage everybody to go out and just support local high school football.
Right.
Being able to see these kids, whether you're Aggie, whether you're a Longhorn, and going out and seeing your recruits and being able to follow them and support them and whatnot, right? So I think, it is unfortunate for him. I did like his response in saying he wants to stay there for the academics, and he's in a better situation. I think, like you said, that's a very, very mature response from him. So, we'll see.
And to the point, like, Tom Ball's not North Shore. I mean, come on. They were, I think Tom Ball was 7-3 last year. It's not like he's going to the juggernaut of Houston.
Right.
Again, it's just unfortunate with the UIL. They kind of, in this regard, I feel like they're kind of like a smaller version of the NCAA, doing this for their own personal gain versus the good of the actual player, the actual student.
Cool. Well, guys, 9 days, 11 days, Sam Ellinger, P.J. Locke, Major Applewhite, old school Ricky Williams. I'm thinking of all the...
Kellen Mond, Jamon Osmond.
James Kirkendall.
Kendrick Rogers. Let's go. Bobby Brown. Hey, we can do this, baby.
Woo! Can't wait. Guys, let us know in the comments what you think. A&M. I'm losing my voice. A&M, Texas. I know. Maybe throw my coach pen at you. Anyway, this is my boy Brandon. I appreciate you coming on.
It's always a privilege, homie. Thank you.
Absolutely. Guys, horns always up. Appreciate it.